I'm Ed Shaffer, and I'm a Wyoming cowboy.
How does it feel to say that?
I've been a cowboy all my life.
What does it mean to you to be a Wyoming cowboy?
Well, working with the livestock and the other cowboys, and that was what I liked the best, being around the other cowboys.
Is that where you made most of your friends?
Yes,
Lifelong friends?
yes.
I talk to a lot of guys, as you know, I've been talking to a lot of guys, and they say that one of the strongest values of a true Wyomingite and a true cowboy is the neighborly bond, or like what you're saying, like community and friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yes.
What do you think makes up a true friend and a true neighbor?
Well, I managed a large ranch for 35 years, and neighbors was the biggest part of it. They was our help. We could go to them with any problems, and we just was a good, solid community of neighbors.
Do you think that mindset of like neighborly being and that sort of community, do you think that that's changed a lot over the years?
It has now, yes.
How have you seen it change?
People don't neighbor like they used to. I mean, we was always there to help whatever needed to be done, and they don't do that anymore.
How do you see people treating their neighbors?
Well, not real good. They don't bond with them, I guess you'd say, but yeah, it's just different. The last 20 years has really changed.
How does that feel to see that happening?
I don't like it.
Me neither. I think you've seen more than I have.
Yeah, well, most all of the people that I was raised around and worked around are gone now. And I just don't see it in the up and coming so-called ranchers.
If you could give one real big piece of advice to those so-called ranchers, what would it be?
Well, I think they're missing out on the whole concept of the West. I mean, we had a close bond with all of our neighbors, and now they don't. It's just totally different.
So would you say, put down your cell phone and go talk to somebody?
Right. Get a horseback.
Where did you grow up?
In this area.
Oh.
I worked on most all of the ranches in Hot Springs County, and I worked one summer in Montana on a ranch, and that's all I done, other than a few odd jobs here and there, but that's all I done all my life, and I hadn't raised my family and everything else. So.
When in growing up, would you say that that you wanted to be a cowboy, or were you just born a cowboy?
Well, I always wanted to be a cowboy. I was horseback ever since I could remember. And my dad and granddad was both cowboys. My dad was went to work for an oil company as an electrician, and he kind of got away from the ranching, but he still had it in his heart. But that isn't how he made his living then. And my granddad, he was a rancher all his life, 96 years.
What generation of Wyomingite are you?
Well, my granddad was raised in Colorado, Shaffer's Crossings, Colorado, and but they was back and forth into Wyoming as a family. They started the Yellowstone Ranch in Fremont County there, and my great granddad and a partner is the ones that started that ranch, and they raised horses for the Army.
What year was that?
Oh, that was in the 1800s. And so that's kind of when the family come into this area.
I'd love to hear some stories, if you have one or two or however many you want to share, that come to mind first straight off the bat, about any good stories about your friends that you made, that you've had over the years.
Well, I counted them as all friends that I worked with, and I don't know of any particular ones that, because they was all friends. And I just learned to get along with people too.
How do you do that? That's hard to get along with everybody.
Well, I don't know. I think my granddad was the same way, and my dad too, but that's just how I was raised. We didn't have, oh, you disagree with them, but I mean, you don't, that's just it. You just forgive and forget.
Could you tell me what a typical or an average day would look like for you working as a cowboy?
Well, when I was managing the ranch, I started out with about 800 cows, and we run about that many yearlings. And I built the ranch up to where we was running 2,000 mother cows and 1,800 yearlings, and it just grew. I mean, came at the right time and everything.
What time would you usually, like on a full day, when you were like at the peak of the season, what time would you get up in the morning usually?
Well, we tried to be out at daylight. Before they got insecticides for these cattle, you had to get up before the heel flies. And you had to get your cow work done by 9:30, 10 o'clock, or you didn't get it done because of the heel flies. And so you wanted to get done before the heat of the day, before the flies got bad. You had to move your cattle early and everything, so you get a good early start. but the insecticides helped that. We started getting control of the heel fly, and it made a big difference.
I'll bet. And you have a chuck wagon when you're out, like far out on the range, yeah? Usually?
Well, no, my wife was in the Hall of Fame now too, but she was a big help, and she would help me ride all day, feed a crew at night or at noon, and that's just the way we done things together, you know. And as a family, my kids was some of my best help. I had 4 kids, and they was horseback early in their life, quick as I could get them on, get them to going. And there's a lot of help, and still are.
That's good to hear. Where is your favorite place to be in the world?
Well, I think then was on the ranch. It was 80,000 acres and beautiful country, perfect cow country. Had a lot of mountain range, and we had hay fields where we raised our winter feed, and so it wasn't all just horseback, but I was horseback pretty much every day, at some time or another, you know.
So coming from me, like I said, I've told you before, I live in New York now, I used to live in Wyoming. Love both, yay. For me, one of my most favorite things to do as soon as I get off the plane, usually it's in Casper, Jackson, Riverton now, is the smell, getting off the plane, and how differently it smells in New York City.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, like a whole lot different. And it's the most beautiful air in the entire world, I think, and I've traveled a lot of places, and the Wyoming air is the best air for me.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the way the mountain was all the time. I spent a lot of time in cow camps, and that's what I liked about it. I mean, you see the stars at night, and now that I'm living here in town, I miss the stars. But it was a big world out there, just on the ranch.
The first time I came home, so I've been gone 10 years. This is my 10-year high school reunion actually on Tuesday. And I remember the first time, and it's been every time, the first time I came home and I stepped out of the car, and I got home late at night, I stepped out of the car, it was in the middle of winter, and this was in town, this is in Lander. Got out, looked up, and those stars, I started crying, because I didn't realize how much I missed it, and people said, what are you going to miss when you leave, what are you going to miss? I didn't know that it was going to be the stars.
Yeah.
And so I hear you when you say that, they are unlike any other thing.
God's creation.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, I spent a year in Lander when they was building the steel mill. I worked up there building the highway and the railroad. And then I got back to the ranch. The money didn't make that much difference to me.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, I missed the ranch life, so I got back to it. But I liked Lander.
Yeah, Lander's good.
At that time, it was a good cow town.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
But yeah, that changed it. It was just a different. People was all different. There's more of my type of people.
Yeah. What do you miss when you leave, or when you say that you miss the ranch life? What about that kind of life did you miss that made you go back?
I don't know. It was just working with the animals and the horses and stuff. That's what I missed. And the people. It's just a different bunch of people that you work with. And I miss the people.
What are some of the qualities of those people that you miss?
Well, their honesty and their hard work. You could depend on them. Now you can't depend on anybody. They just, they'll tell you one thing and maybe never get it done. I would hate to have to find a crew now to run the ranch the size of the one I was on. I don't know whether you could or not. I had people work for me for 18 years. You know, several of them spent their whole time. And they was just close friends, and we just worked good together. So, yeah, it was a good life.
If you were to put, I guess, this is a hypothetical, huge hypothetical. If you were to put an ad in the paper looking for people to be on your team, what are the top 5 qualities that you would not just ask for, but that you would require?
Well, dependability and some experience. I worked with a lot of kids, and that came out to the ranch that didn't know anything when they came. And they would work for me through high school. And they would come back every year till they graduated. And then they'd move on, you know. But, yeah, I had a lot of them from the whole time I managed the ranch. And that was always enjoyable, just be around the kids and watch them grow and learn. My kids was the same way. I mean, and that's how I got a lot of the kids. When my kids was in high school, their friends would want to work out there, and so I'd get a pretty good crew together in the summertime.
Did you ever get any city kids?
Yes.
How was that? How did they compare?
Well, it depended on the kid to start with. If his parents just wanted me to give him a job, it was a little different. But if that kid's heart was in it when he came, he made a good hand. You know, they learn.
How would you say, because we were talking a little bit, kind of a little bit earlier about like how the Hollywood cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see that version of like what it means to be a Hollywood cowboy compared to what it actually means that you experience as a true cowboy?
Well, there's a lot of glamour, I guess, into it. I thought the best Western that I seen was Monty Walsh. And I'm sure you've seen that. And I thought that was kind of the way things was. And it
What
just changes.
Yeah. What about that specifically struck a chord with you?
Well, the independence of the cowboy then. And, you know, how that changed in later years as I guess the whole ranching community changed, so, yeah. It's when the cowboys actually got away from owning the ranches. That was a big change.
I think I have one last question for you, and I think we're almost cut for time. What was it like for you to be inducted into the Wyoming Cowboy Hall of Fame? What was your first reaction?
Well, the first thing I thought of is there was a lot of people that deserved it more than I did. You know, some of the old ranchers that I knew and stuff, they was just true cowmen, you know, and they loved the ranch too.
And one more thing. I actually haven't seen that book that you brought. They haven't shown it to me. Would you show it to me now?
Yeah.
I saw you brought it in. This would be great.
My kids is the one
Oh,
made that up.
Your kids made this.
Yeah.
I thought Wyoming Cowboy Hall of Fame. I was like, that was nice. This is incredible.
It's just information that they put in of our life.
Oh, wow.
That's incredible. Look at those two.
Oh, this is amazing.
And I lost my wife about 5 years ago, and I told them I wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame without her. So they put her in.
That's hard to be without your second half. I just want to sit with you. Is that cool? Cool. Wow, sorry, I stole this from the camera. This is really amazing.
When did she start ranching with you?
Well, when we was first married, we was on a ranch, and she just helped me the whole time.
How long were you married?
49 years.
That's amazing. What's the secret?
We got to like each other, and we work good together.
Where is this at? Where's her bench at?
At the museum.
Oh, okay.
Do you know Carl Martinez?
Not, I think in passing, but not super well.
That was her sister, but she's secretary to a lot of rodeos.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
around
yeah.
the state.
That's okay. That's why.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I still got a chance to rope at a few brandings this spring, so
Wow.
that's
You're still going, man.
try to.
That's what you do.
That's cool.
Wow.
I do better horseback. I can't get around very good unless I'm horseback.
Hey, you're better than me.
What's some of your favorite horse experience?
Oh, I don't know. I've owned some good horses you could do anything on, and that was what I like is, have a good solid horse under you
Yeah.
that you could do anything on.
Yeah.
I raised horses for a few years and broke them, trained them for the ranch work, and that's where raised most of the horses that we used on the ranch. Had 30 head of saddle horses, and we used them hard. That's big country and it's rough and it's most of the guys that helped me ride and my wife too, we'd have about 5 horses apiece. And so you just use the horses. You only got used once a week, but that's how you keep a good horse too. You use them and then you let them rest.
Do you have any regrets?
No, I do the same thing. I think God blessed me in a way that just couldn't believe.
Well, Ed, let me tell you this for me, and don't tell any of the other guys. This has been my favorite interview that we've done so far. So thank you. It's been an honor.
Ed, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a true honor to talk with you today.
This is pretty incredible.
Well, I don't talk too much, but
When you do,
It's special.
you speak when it matters. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
well, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
I'm not so bad, right?
Right.
She's pretty easy to talk to.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing this.
Oh.
This was that was a treat. I'm really glad I'm so glad that you brought
Okay.
that. All right.
Well, I thought I might forget what went on because whenever I get around people, sometimes I don't remember everything.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
And if you forget, who cares? We'll
Yeah.
talk about something
And
else.
that was,
It's just a conversation.
yeah.
It's great. That's why
Yeah,
I like
you
it.
made it easy.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure, an absolute pleasure. All right, let's
Thank
get
you
this.
so much, Ed.
Let's get you some water.